The story of Bill Gates does not begin with billions of dollars, global influence, or world-changing philanthropy. It begins with a restless mind, one that refused to think like everyone else. Born in 1955 in Seattle, Gates grew up in a family where discipline, competition, and achievement were not just encouraged, they were expected. His father was a successful lawyer, and his mother sat on corporate boards, surrounding him with an environment of ambition and strategic thinking. But even in such a driven household, no one could have predicted the scale of what Gates would eventually build. From an early age, Gates displayed an unusual obsession, not with sports, not with social life, but with logic, puzzles, and systems. His real turning point came when he was introduced to computers at Lakeside School. At a time when computers were massive, rare, and inaccessible to the public, Gates gained hands-on experience. While others saw a machine, he saw a universe of possibilities. He spent countless hours learning programming, often skipping sleep, completely absorbed in understanding how software could control hardware. It was here that he met Paul Allen, a partnership that would later reshape the entire world. Both shared a belief that sounded almost ridiculous in the 1970s, that one day, every home and every desk would have a computer. This vision became their obsession. In 1975, Gates made a decision that would define his life. He dropped out of Harvard University, rejecting a traditional path, and fully committed to building a company with Paul Allen, Microsoft. At that time, this was not a safe or logical decision. The personal computer industry barely existed, but Gates was not chasing certainty, he was chasing the future. Their first breakthrough came with the Altair 8800, one of the earliest personal computers. Gates and Allen developed a programming language for it, proving that software could become a business. This moment marked the birth of Microsoft. But the true turning point, the moment that transformed Gates from a talented programmer into a strategic mastermind, came in 1980. IBM, the biggest name in computing, approached Microsoft to provide an operating system for its new personal computer. Gates didn't yet have one ready. Instead of building from scratch, he made a bold and calculated move. He acquired an existing system, refined it, and delivered it as MS-DOS. However, the real genius was not the product, it was the deal. Instead of selling MS-DOS outright, Gates licensed it. This meant IBM could use it, but Microsoft retained ownership. As the PC market exploded, other manufacturers also needed operating systems, and Microsoft was ready. This single decision created a powerful chain reaction. Microsoft became the backbone of the entire personal computer industry. Through the 1980s and into the 1990s, Microsoft expanded aggressively. Then came Windows, a graphical interface that changed everything. Computers were no longer tools for experts, they became accessible to everyday people. Offices, schools, homes, Windows spread everywhere. As Microsoft grew, so did Gates' influence. He wasn't just building software, he was controlling the digital infrastructure of modern society. His strategy was ruthless, precise, and highly effective. He focused not only on innovation but on dominance. Microsoft products were designed to integrate with each other, creating an ecosystem that was difficult to escape. By the early 1990s, Microsoft had become the most powerful software company in the world. Gates became the youngest self-made billionaire and soon after, the richest man on earth. But success came with controversy. Microsoft faced major antitrust lawsuits, accused of crushing competition and monopolizing the market. Gates himself was portrayed as aggressive, even ruthless. Yet, even his critics could not deny his brilliance. He understood scale, leverage, and long-term positioning better than almost anyone else. At the peak of his power, Gates had achieved something unprecedented. He didn't just build a company, he shaped an entire industry. But as the 1990s came to an end, something unexpected began to happen. After conquering the world of technology, Gates started asking a different question. What is all this success for? And with that question, the next phase of his life began, one that would redefine his legacy entirely. As the world entered a new millennium, Bill Gates stood at the peak of success. He had built Microsoft into a global empire, accumulated unimaginable wealth, and influenced how billions of people interact with technology. But instead of continuing down the same path, Gates made a decision that surprised the world. He began stepping away from Microsoft. This was not a retreat. It was a transformation. In 2000, alongside Melinda French Gates, he founded the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. What started as a philanthropic initiative quickly grew into one of the most powerful charitable organizations in human history. Unlike traditional charity, Gates approached philanthropy with the mindset of a strategist. He didn't just want to donate money, he wanted measurable impact. The foundation focused on some of the world's biggest challenges: infectious diseases, poverty, lack of education, and inequality. Billions of dollars were invested into vaccine development, healthcare systems, and global health programs. Diseases like polio and malaria became key targets. Gates' philosophy was clear. The same level of intelligence and strategy used to build Microsoft should be applied to solving global problems. Over time, he also co-founded the Giving Pledge, encouraging billionaires around the world to donate the majority of their wealth. This shifted how the ultra-rich thought about responsibility. But while his public image evolved into that of a global humanitarian, his personal life remained complex. Bill Gates met Melinda in 1987 at Microsoft. Their relationship grew over time, blending personal connection with shared purpose. They married in 1994 and built not just a family, but a global philanthropic partnership. Together, they had 3 children and maintained a relatively private life despite immense public attention. For decades, they were seen as one of the most influential couples in the world, combining wealth, power, and purpose. However, in 2021, after 27 years of marriage, they announced their divorce. The news shocked the world. It marked the end of a partnership that had defined not only their personal lives but also their global initiatives. Despite the separation, both continued their work. Melinda eventually moved toward independent philanthropic efforts, while Gates remained deeply involved in global challenges. In recent years, Gates has also faced criticism and scrutiny regarding past associations and decisions. He has openly acknowledged mistakes, showing a more human side to a figure often seen as purely analytical. Yet, despite controversies, his focus remains unchanged. Today, Gates is heavily involved in addressing climate change, investing in clean energy technologies, and supporting innovation in sustainability. He continues to advocate for global health improvements and education reform. His evolution is remarkable. He started as a young programmer obsessed with computers. He became the most powerful figure in the tech industry. Then, he transformed into one of the world's largest philanthropists. Few individuals in history have reinvented themselves at such a scale. Bill Gates' story is not just about success, it's about transformation. It's about understanding that power can evolve, that ambition can shift from personal gain to global impact. He changed the world twice. First, by putting a computer on every desk. Second, by trying to improve life for every human being. And perhaps the most important lesson from his journey is this: success is not the final destination. It is a tool that, in the right hands, can reshape the future of humanity. So this was the journey of Bill Gates, from a young dreamer to a global icon. If you found this story inspiring, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful success stories. Thank you for watching.